David Ricardo was a very important man in the world of economics. He was born on April 18, 1772 in London, England. Ricardo came from a family of Jewish traders. His father was a successful merchant, and his family had a good amount of money. David was the third of 17 children in the family, but he did not spend much time with them. He was a very serious young boy who liked to think and read. David's life was not always easy. When he was young, his family wanted him to join the family business, just like his father. He started working as a trader in the stock market when he was just 14 years old. This was a tough job, and David quickly learned a lot about money and business. However, David was not interested in just making money. He wanted to understand the world and how it worked. He started reading books about economics and began thinking about big ideas that could change the way people thought about money and trade. In his early 20s, David began to study economics seriously. He started reading the works of famous economists like Adam Smith, who was one of the first people to think deeply about the ideas of free markets. Adam Smith believed that when people make decisions for themselves, they help the economy grow. Ricardo liked this idea but thought that some parts of the economy needed more attention. One of David Ricardo's biggest ideas was about the law of comparative advantage. This idea helps explain why countries trade with each other. Ricardo believed that even if a country is not the best at making everything, it can still benefit from trade. For example, if one country is very good at making cars, but not good at making food, and another country is very good at making food, but not good at making cars, both countries can trade with each other. This way, both countries get what they need without having to be the best at everything. Ricardo also thought a lot about the value of money. He believed that money should be connected to something real, like gold. He did not like the idea of printing too much money, because this could make money less valuable. This idea became very important in later years, because many countries started printing a lot of money during times of war or economic problems. David's work helped people understand the importance of controlling money. Another big idea that Ricardo had was about how the economy grows over time. He believed that as a country becomes richer, people will need to produce more food and goods. However, he also thought that the growth of the economy could slow down because of something called diminishing returns. This idea means that after a certain point, increasing the amount of land or workers does not lead to a proportional increase in production. For example, if you have a farm, adding more workers might not make the farm grow more if there is not enough land for everyone. In such a case, the new workers might not be as useful as the first ones. Ricardo was also interested in the idea of rent. Rent is the money that people pay to use land or property. In Ricardo's time, many people worked on farms that were owned by someone else. Ricardo believed that landowners could charge high rents because they controlled the land. However, he also believed that this was not always fair. He thought that the price of land and rent depended on the amount of land available. If there was a lot of land, rents would be low, but if there was not much land, rents would be high. He explained that rent was not something that farmers paid for their hard work, but was just a payment to landowners because they controlled something valuable, the land. Ricardo's ideas about rent and trade were important for understanding how the economy works. They helped explain why some people get richer while others get poorer. David believed that free trade, or the ability for countries to trade freely with each other, could help reduce poverty and make economies stronger. He argued that tariffs, taxes on goods that come from other countries, and trade restrictions only made things worse. According to Ricardo, when countries trade freely, everyone can get the best goods at the lowest prices, and everyone can benefit. David Ricardo's ideas were revolutionary and changed the way people thought about economics. His work helped to build the foundation for modern economic theory. His theories were important not just for understanding how businesses work, but also for understanding the relationship between countries and how they can cooperate through trade. Many of his ideas are still used by economists today. One of the most important things about Ricardo's work is that it helped to show that economies are complex systems. In these systems, many different factors are connected, and the actions of one person or group can have a big effect on others. For example, when countries trade, they are not only exchanging goods, but they are also affecting the jobs, wages, and wealth of people in different parts of the world. Although David Ricardo became very successful as an economist, he was not always popular with everyone. Some people did not agree with his ideas. They thought that his theories were too focused on the benefits of free trade, and that they did not consider the challenges that people faced in poor countries. Others felt that his ideas about rent were unfair to landlords and property owners. Despite these disagreements, Ricardo's work had a big impact. He was known for his ability to explain complicated ideas in a clear and simple way. He wrote books and articles that helped to spread his ideas to other economists and policymakers. His most famous work, Principles of Political Economy and Taxation, was published in 1817 and became one of the most important books in economics. In addition to his work as an economist, David Ricardo was also involved in politics. He was elected to the British Parliament in 1819, where he worked to improve economic policies and represent the interests of people who believed in free trade. Although he was not a politician for long, his time in Parliament allowed him to share his ideas with a larger audience and help make important decisions about economic policy. David Ricardo died on September 11, 1823, at the age of 51. Even though he lived a relatively short life, his ideas continue to shape the way we think about economics today. Many of the things we take for granted, like the importance of trade between countries and the way money works, are based on his work. He is considered one of the most important economists in history, and his ideas still influence how people study economics. His legacy lives on, and people continue to learn from the ideas that David Ricardo developed. He helped to create the foundations for a better understanding of how economies work, and his ideas about trade, rent, and money continue to be used by economists around the world. David Ricardo's work is an example of how one person can change the way the world thinks, and help to make the world a better place for everyone.